Hey, scholars, welcome, welcome. Today, we're going to have a live interview with our very own, the great Chef Speight. And we're here today just really to discuss and celebrate a National Native American History Month. And so, Chef Speight, I'm coming to ask you a question real quick, right? And the question is, as we celebrate and discuss Native American Heritage Month, I wonder what impact did Native Americans actually have on our current society and the way we eat and live today, Chef Spade? Can you tell me a little bit about that?
I can, and thank you for having me, Mr. Mulford. Very happy to be here. It is a great thing to remember the Native Americans, and their impact on our society today is spread out all across the map, and they really don't even get the credit for it. Teaching us how to plant crops such as corn, squash, beans, tomatoes, potatoes, even tobacco back then was a huge crop, as well as many types of berries that are so common to us today. Really are due because of the American Indian. And in fact, when settlers from Europe came here, in their own mind, tomatoes were viewed as poisonous. They were never eaten. And it wasn't until the Indians introduced the tomato, which is such an important part of our diet today, that we learned that they're actually safe to eat.
Wow, wow. I mean, those are some amazing innovations that I had never even knew about myself, Chef Spade. And so I wonder how come they are not as well remembered as they should be for all these contributions? I mean, how were they treated as the United States was being colonized, and did that impact their place in our history?
It's a very sad story and truly not as well known as it should be in this day and age, Mr. Mumford. We hear about the Jewish Holocaust from the Nazis, which was horrible. But the amount of Jews that died there is in 6 million, I think, around that number. And you're talking, the Native Americans are said to be between 90 and 110 million that were slaughtered over just about a century as we took over these United States of America. And in fact, we forced them from their lands, and they have been treated like second-class citizens ever since. They're given small parcels of unprosperous land that they have to live and colonize.
Wow, wow, that's terrible. It's myself being a Black American, it's kind of similar to some of the struggles of African Americans in this country. Can you speak it on that?
Absolutely. Absolutely. No, I mean, the two can be paralleled dramatically because, certainly until recent times, it seems like the light hasn't been shed on the hardship of both, and that the similarities really are very similar. They were treated just horribly and unfair, never really given that chance. Slaves were brought over here not having a chance at a decent life, and these American Indians had a decent life that they loved and were so happy with, and were literally just forced off land at gunpoint.
Hmm. Wow, Chef Spade, thank you. I mean, that's a true motto of what being my brother's keeper is, just education and knowledge and really honoring and celebrating. As we discussed, Native American History Month, this is important information, especially us being a culinary school and teaching our young people the importance of, growing their own crops and nurturing their own crops. So my last question, Chef Spade, is going forward, how can we actually honor the American Indian, their history, their struggle, and most importantly, their legacy? Like, what can we do to give them the honor that they deserve?
Well, like Black history, I think it's important to teach about Native American history, and they're not talked about enough in today's schools. Remembering is always a very powerful tool, and teaching future generations what atrocities occurred for past generations is extremely important. And with the Indians, it's important. They taught us to care for the land and to use everything that the land provided, but to never take it for granted. And today we do take it for granted. So for me, every time I see a straw in the street, a wrapper blowing in the wind, it breaks my heart. And to me, we can remember their legacy by picking up that trash, by not even putting it there. Let's care for the land and really give love back to the earth, because it gives us everything we need to survive.
Yes, yes, that's so true, Chef Spade. I just want to thank you for your time today, and I also, as we close, I think it's a great time to just mention for a moment the food insecurity contest, because what we can learn is that together we can grow and actually really bring this land up even greater to be um, what we all envision it to be. And so, can you just share with us a little bit about what food security insecurity is, and how we can connect this together?
Yeah, for sure. It's funny because we've been talking about this last week, and I got my car, turned on the radio, and what were they talking about? Food insecurity. And this has been a problem for decades in this country. But what's worse now with the whole COVID crisis, it's really come under fire, and it's highlighted. Too many people don't have access to good food, and that's a problem. There is something called food deserts, certain parts of our country where they're not deserts, they're cities. Newark, for instance, is considered a food desert. There are not enough destinations in Newark where we can get good, fresh, good quality wholesale produce and meat that's not filled with hormones and steroids and antibiotics. And it's a big problem. So we have a contest from a great restaurant group, the Vanguard Restaurant Group. They have several beautiful restaurants in and around the Newark area. And they're challenging students to come up with some idea of getting across the whole notion of food insecurity. Maybe a student is good at writing poetry. Maybe they want to make a poster or create a video discussing and highlighting food insecurity today. But that's what the contest is about. And there's some great prizes. You may be able to take your family to dinner at one of these fine restaurants. So I think it's a pretty exciting thing that's kind of being posed before us.
I think it's definitely exciting, and what a time now to actually celebrate and discuss national Native American history as we prepare to make history and try to dampen or decrease food insecurity right here in Newark, and doing it right here at Marion P. Thomas Charter High School. So again, Chef Speight, we thank you for your time, your effort, and your commitment to really empower young people and empower adults along the journey. So stay tuned. We've got some more coming up, and we hope to see you all soon. Be safe. Peace.
Thanks. Take care.